Folks, I'm here to tell you that for 2023, one of the most popular vehicles Kia sells has received a little bit of a facelift. I am, of course, talking about the 2023 Kia Telluride, and this one is the X Pro model, one of the higher trims, and it's a brand new trim. So I'm going to talk to you about what's going on the outside and what's going on the inside. There are some changes, including a cool little bump in towing. So let's get started right up front. Now, what you might notice for those of you who are Kia Telluride fans, and there's a lot of you out there, by the way, in 2021, North America, they sold like 93,000 of these things. It's really impressive for a relatively new vehicle. Anyway, they refreshed it without making a lot of changes. So you do have a unique grille, headlights, and this area here have all been updated without really changing the character of the vehicle. This is according to Kia. So I bet you're wondering, well, it's the X Pro. That means that off-road, this vehicle is superior. Well, it's more of a design thing. So for instance, down here, this, well, it's plastic. So I wouldn't go bashing around rocks, which some people have a reputation for. Down here too, that's plastic. That is too. Yeah, so no real changes to the fact that this vehicle is really made for very light off-roading. Although I've taken a Telluride on some pretty difficult paths, and it's done really well. It's an excellent all-wheel drive system. Speaking of all-wheel drive, let's work our way over to the tires, because that is a huge component of the X Pro. What am I talking about? Well, you may notice 18-inch wheels, which have a matte black finish, which actually look really good. I'm not a huge fan of painted wheels, but these are okay. Now, these are terrain contacts made by Continental. And you may notice it has a really beefy looking sidewall. And if I'm being honest, the actual tread on it doesn't seem like it's super off-roady. But let's have a look here. These are 245/60 R18s. So essentially, this is, I think, for light off-roading. It doesn't say here. Yeah, these are all-terrains. So they're not mud trains or anything like that, even though they really do look it from the outside. Let's look at the rest, because there are some updates externally as well. Have a look down there. Now you may notice that this side kick panel, a little bit different. And some of the trim going around the fenders and whatnot looks a little different, probably because of wheels. But the big changes are also back here. The rear blade. Yeah, that's been updated. So has this area here, and of course, this section down here. All this has been updated. I really do like this exhaust setup, and it's real. Why can't the Germans make real? It doesn't matter. I'm not going to complain about the Germans. It's a Korean car, right? Built, by the way, in America. Yes. As a matter of fact, before I continue, Kia has been selling so many of these. Now, right now, the statistics are these land on car sale lots for 4 days. Think about that. They get off the truck, they land on the lot, and they're gone in 4 days. That's huge. That's a testament to how popular they are. So, they actually have increased production on these vehicles, and they're hoping to produce 120,000 this upcoming year, which puts them in some interesting territory, because we're talking about the Honda Pilot and the Toyota Highlander. Okay. You understand why this is like such a big deal, right? Okay. Now, one other thing that's kind of a big deal for some of you out there, and it comes down to this. Towing. Normally, the Telluride can pull 5,000 pounds, which isn't too bad. It's not best in class. However, if you get this one, the X Pro, you actually bump up 500 pounds. That's right, 5,500 pound towing rating. How do they do that? I actually asked. Turns out that the cooling fan that this vehicle uses has been upgraded for higher output. As such, with the extra heat that's created by towing higher loads, you're able to dissipate that heat with a more powerful fan. There is no difference with the 291 horsepower this thing produces or the 262 pound-feet it produces. As a matter of fact, this is the same powertrain as before. As such, it also has the 8-speed automatic transmission, the same all-wheel drive system, same fuel economy numbers essentially as before. Now, bear in mind the EPA hasn't fully rated this vehicle, so there could be some minor changes, but I don't expect much, neither should you. But what does this mean? Well, this means that this powertrain, which I've already been sampling in vehicles like the Carnival, which weighs a lot, but man does it move, it is a very frisky engine. It's Lambda designed, and it is a GDI, so it's direct injected. As such, it's very responsive. This is all from experience. And I'm pretty sure that even with the slightly meatier tires, you're not going to have a major difference in straight line performance. There have been some changes with the interior, and what the interesting thing is, and this is according to Kia, they really didn't want to change much because people were pretty happy with what they already had, but they did do a couple things to make people even happier. And that is down here. They actually have enough space for a larger cell phone to be charged. I know that seems kind of trivial, but I have a case on mine, which means it doesn't fit in a lot of Qi chargers. Hell, it doesn't even fit in certain storage areas. So by making this a little bit bigger, it's a good start. Now, there are two different displays that we have. Obviously, your infotainment and, of course, instrumentation. And this is a 10.2-inch screen, and this is a 12.3. And the cool part about both of these is the fact that they are, graphics-wise, excellent. Very easy to read. And Kia and Hyundai have been working with this type of display for a little while now. And what they're doing is they're putting it in almost everything they have. So from the least expensive car all the way up to the more expensive vehicles, you're getting high quality digital displays. But there's more. Have a look at these seats. So the quilting is unique to this vehicle. And part of the reason for that is, of course, because this is an X Pro. Once again, Kia's upped it a little bit by bringing in designers who want to give you a more premium experience, both driving and being a passenger in their vehicles. So that's why this row and the second row have these quilted seats. But there's something else, and it's something very interesting, and this hasn't changed. The room in the second and third row. Second row space is outstanding. I have no problem with legroom or headroom, and I have a relatively tall torso, 6'1". The dual sunroof setup is really cool. I, personally speaking, would probably not opt for these because I have a feeling they're extraordinarily expensive, and that's one of the problems. We don't have pricing. So as nice as this vehicle is, I can't tell you how much it is. However, I can tell you this. Currently, and this is sort of from a back source, they're not expecting huge price bumps in any of their vehicles. So you could probably look at one of these, the higher trim level, and most likely you'll be pretty close in terms of figuring out the price. See that button right there? Well, I'm going to trigger it right over here. And I trigger, and whammo, bammo. Seat pulls up. And there's just enough space for you to fit your leg through and get into the third row, which I'm about to attempt. I feel bad for the cameraman because this morning I did have a giant bean breakfast burrito with extra guacamole sauce, and it was extra hot. So we're in a confined space. Just warning you guys, if you hear anything, it wasn't me, it's barking spiders. Okay, in the third row, there's a lot more space than you would expect. Not a whole lot for your feet, given where you are, but for me, I could sit back here for a little while. I actually still have headroom, and I have okay legroom. But compared to Nissan, Honda, Toyota, the main competitors, this has one of the better third rows out there. One of its major selling points as far as I'm concerned. Very comfortable. The 2023 Kia Telluride X Pro is a combination of what people want and what they already love. Let's face it, this is an extremely popular vehicle considering how many people have ordered it, how many people will order it. In the future, will there be a plug-in hybrid version or an electric version? Well, rumor says maybe. The other thing is, this vehicle will be coming to dealerships fairly soon, but bear in mind, as you already know, all the problems with dealerships and, of course, production with components and all that. All that aside, I will say this. The tires really do make it look a little bit more macho, but for the most part, it's the same Kia Telluride as before. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.